Oh, hello there, my fellow Americans. I know that we're in the heat of our yearly obsession with March Madness, and with good reason. Who doesn't love a good tournament arc? But what if I told you that Europe right now is in the passionate throes of their March Madness? Yes, they're in the final 8 of the Champions League, Europe's version of the Tri-Wizard Tournament from Harry Potter, where all the best teams from all of Europe's top leagues battle it out to see who is truly king of the colonizers. And let me tell you, we got ourselves a spicy Final 8 this year. So per usual, let me be your guide, fill you in on who are the contenders, the pretenders, and even a few sleepers for all the cool kids in the back. Welcome to a Clueless American's Guide to the Champions League, 2024 edition. But first, like FIFA, I gotta pay some bills. Hey guys, your number one Fatasian, and the weather's getting a little bit nicer outside, which means it's time to start burning away this hibernation weight, which is why I love Factor meal plans. Listen, even if you can't pry yourself away from Helldivers 2 for 15 minutes, you can still save yourself the money and trouble of cooking or calling in that $37 burrito from Chipotle. You know that ain't the move. But with Factor, you'll get fresh, never frozen, restaurant quality meals delivered right to your door. And when you're feeling a bit peckish, you pop a few holes in that bitch, microwave for 3 minutes, and you're eating. And you're eating good. Quick, efficient, and nutritious. Plus, with no cleanup, you'll be back in the fight before your squad can call in a resupply. It's an S-tier stratagem for real life. And with 35 selections, you'll never get bored. And if you want to add a little fancy pants to your life, you can check out their Gourmet Plus selections. Get a little surf and turf, or my personal favorite, the filet mignon. For less than a full meal at McDonald's, you could be eating fucking filet mignon. Stop being a little trash panda and get some filet mignon in your life. So head over to factor75.com or click on the link on the top of the description and use the code FATASIAN50 at checkout to get 50% off your first box and free wellness shots for life. Yes, you heard that right. For life. Or for as long as you're subscribed. The link is in the top of the doobly-doo. Once again, that is factor75.com. Use the code FATASIAN50 at checkout. Thank you once again at Factor for sponsoring this video. Now, back to the show. So I'm going to switch it up this time. I'm going to have a little bit of a ranking. We're going to start off with the pretenders, work our way up through the sleepers, then to the contenders, and last but not least, I'll tell you my favorites to win the whole damn thing. But first, let's start off with the pretender tier list, and arguably the worst team in the Final 8, and that is Borussia Dortmund. And honestly, I don't know how they got here. I know that for the last decade, they have been every football hipster's favorite team, because they have a reputation for nurturing some of the best and up-and-coming talents before they erupt onto the European stage. Names like Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland have been absolutely sensational for Manchester City and Real Madrid. But that's the issue. They're not on Borussia Dortmund anymore. And thus, they've been quite underwhelming in the Bundesliga this year. And that's doubly disappointing, as the season has seen Bayern Munich open the door for someone to come in and win the league for the first time in over a decade. And instead of seizing the opportunity, Dortmund sit fourth. Well, the new hotness in Germany is Xabi Alonso's Bayern Leverkusen, who sit 10 points clear of the 11-time consecutive champions Bayern Munich. Leverkusen are the big story coming out of German football this year. And I think I speak for everyone when we say that we wish it was them in this competition, not Dortmund, but this is what it is. Now, to give them credit, they did manage to top a fairly tough group, which gave them a relatively easy matchup up against PSV. But, big but here, they drew Atletico Madrid in the next round, so probably going to lose. I don't know if you've ever seen Atletico Madrid play, but they about to do them like Tamari did 10-10. It's a wrap. Next up in the pretender tier list, oh god, here it comes. It's Barcelona. Bro, I know. I'm going to get in the comments. Dortmund and Barcelona in the pretender tier list. But to quote a great man, call me Mr. Chimney, because I want all the smoke. My fellow Americans, do not be fooled by the brand name recognition or the sycophants holding on to the glorious past. This is not your uncle's Barcelona. Messi and Iniesta aren't here. They're enjoying life in the retirement homes of world football, while Xavi, bless his heart, is now stuck managing this husk of a club, and unless he pulls something out of his ass, he's probably gone in the summer. Let's lay out the facts, alright? They're still broke as fuck, spending money they don't have on players who have been mostly ass, and they've been struggle busing all year long in La Liga. You know it's bad when the only thing Barca fans can brag about this season is how young their players are. They won't shut the fuck up about it. And honestly, who the fuck cares? Whoop-de-doo, you have a player that's 16. All I'm hearing is that your team is so broke it had to resort to child labor. And listen, this kid's got potential. I'll give him that. But I'm old enough to remember another player who broke into your team at 16. And it didn't take him 28 appearances to score 4 goals. Barcelona. And I'm saying this in the most disparaging way possible. You are becoming the Manchester United of La Liga. A team that has an awe-inspiring past. But after a few key figures left, you just ain't the same. The fall off is real. And I know that's hard to accept. You want to go back and relive Naruto. But right now, if you're honest to yourself, you're just stuck watching Boruto. And with Real Madrid getting Jude Bellingham this year, and most likely Mbappe in the summer, it's not looking good for you in the future. Your kid's got potential, but they're buying kids that are good and have even more potential. Just accept it. You're gonna get cooked. And honestly, I don't know who I'm yelling at anymore. Because let's be honest, half of you left to be Man City fans. Shout out to my Indians watching this. Because I know you know a guy who did exactly that. In fact, tag him in the comments. And for my final team, in the Pretender tier list, we have PSG. Let us all take a moment to point and laugh at PSG. Yes, hilarious. They thought they could waltz in, inject $1 bajillion into a club, and that would get them a Champions League trophy delivered to their doorstep with next day shipping. But they found out that winning the Champions League isn't quite as easy as bribing FIFA. The trophy is ever elusive, even for a well-run oil club like Man City, let alone the circus that PSG has been for the past decade. It's wild to think that they assembled a lineup of Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, maybe the best attacking three ever put on a single club, and still somehow got knocked out of the round of 16, 2 years in a row. And so, they sold off Neymar and Messi to the retirement leagues, and this once Real Madrid-worthy all-star squad is now basically Mbappe and a bunch of Jags. You know, just a guy. And with Mbappe all but gone in the summer, this team sheet went from world-class to just ass in a little over 2 years. Life comes at you quick, dog. I don't know what the Qataris' plans are from here. Maybe they're just happy to chill a little bit after the success of their World Cup. But my God, this roster is unbelievably mid. They are the MCU of the football world. They assembled the Avengers for one big crossover event, and since then, they've just been falling off. I'm sorry, Shang-Chi, but you're just not Iron Man. And I don't want to hear, well, actually, they're 10 points clear in the French league. Bro, shut up. The next best team in that league is named after a single titty. Versus the wealth of an oil state, I would hope that they could defeat a single titty. PSG are overrated and overpriced, just like the city they represent. And much like Paris, they'll probably be on fire again soon. And that is it for my tier of the sneakily ass teams. Next up are my sleepers. And really, there's only one. It's Atletico Madrid. Here's the deal. Atletico Madrid is perennially the dark horse in this competition, and I'm actually kind of mad at them right now because they knocked out my favorite sleeper team in this competition, Inter Milan, who've been sprinting away with the Serie A title this year and are playing some super interesting football right now. Inzaghi has been in his bag in Italy, but Atletico Madrid had to go and spoil the party because while Inter might have been cuter, they had better tactics, Atletico Madrid went the Mike Tyson route and saying, hey, I see your tactics, but I'm just going to punch you in the mouth. Diego Simeone's men are always a tough out in this competition. With their stubborn defensive style and an odd knack for developing the best strikers in Spain, nobody, absolutely nobody, wants to see him in their side of the bracket. That being said, though, they always kind of feel like the sub-boss in Dark Souls before you fight the main boss. Yes, they're a super pain in the ass to deal with, but not quite, S tier. And I say this because they've only reached the final once in the past 3 decades. But hey, if you want to root for the Rock Lee of this tournament arc, Atletico Madrid is the team for you. And now, for my Contenders tier list. Starting off with the disappointing Bayern Munich. Oh, the memes, the dreams, and poor Harry Kane. Long have people said that Harry Kane would have to leave Tottenham if he ever wanted to win silverware. So that is exactly what he did last summer, and he went to probably the surest bet to win a title in Europe. The 11 consecutive time champions, Bayern Munich. And after about 5 months, we realized that you can take the player out of Spurs, but you can't take the Spurs out of the player. Because miraculously, for the first time in 12 years, it looks like Bayern is not going to win the Bundesliga, which should be impossible, because Bayern Munich is the Bundesliga. If any team even gets close to their dominance, they just buy up all their best players, and sometimes even their coach. The Bundesliga might as well be called Bayern Munich and a bunch of feeder clubs, but that has not been the case this year, as they sit 10 points below, top of the table, Bayern Leverkusen, who have come out of nowhere and look likely to capture their first Bundesliga title in their history. Now, I gave Harry Kane a little bit of shit, but he's actually been doing his job. It's everyone else they bought in the summer that has been trash or underutilized. Now, there are many reasons that you can point for why they're underperforming in the league. They sacked their coach around this time last year to bring the undeniably brilliant, but difficult to work with, Thomas Tuchel. If reports are to be believed, in about a year, he's managed to piss off about half of the dressing room. That, combined with a lot of front office changes, including longtime legend and CEO Oliver Kahn stepping down. Oliver Kahn, what a name. And all of this has resulted in one of the worst years in decades for the German Giants. And after losing 3-0 to Bayer Leverkusen in February, it was announced that Thomas Tuchel and Bayern had decided to mutually part ways at the end of the season, which basically means you're fired, but we don't have anyone to replace you, so you're gonna have to stay on for your shift. I was this close to putting them into the pretender tier list, and they still very well might be, but even in down here, I still give them probably the third best odds to win this competition, just because it would be a classic Thomas Tuchel move to underperform the league and then gigabrain his way to a crazy Champions League run. He did it before with Chelsea, and they're playing Arsenal in the next round, and if things shake out right, they could play Barca after, two teams they've spanked so hard in this competition in the past that they have PTSD from them. So it might just be easy mode until they get to the final. But they're just as likely to flame out, sack Thomas Tuchel, and bring in Xavi Alonso in the summer. My God, what this ex-Liverpool and Real Madrid great is doing with Bayern Leverkusen this year is sensational. Did I mention how sad I am I don't get to see him in this competition this year? Yeah. Alright, moving on. Okay. Right now, we're getting to the big boys, and first off, I want you to just look at Man City's recent run of games in the Premier League. They are absolutely devastating, just battering kids like they were adopted. Most likely, they're on their way to another Premier League title and are serious contenders to win this competition. You would expect no less from Pep Guardiola and Man City. Which is why it's so surprising that this is actually Arsenal. I tricked you. Not just because I'm a troll, but more to prove that if it wasn't Arsenal, people would actually consider them a serious threat. They were the surprise team of last year in the Prem, and are proving this season that it wasn't no fluke. Mikel Arteta's men are young, hungry, and dangerous. Declan Rice has been worth every penny they paid for him, even up against goal scoring, which used to be considered a weakness for him. And for the past month, they have just been beating teams senseless in what is considered the most competitive league in the world. But no one believes them, because this is kind of what they did last year. Look absolutely brilliant for about 80% of the season, and then fall off a cliff and die during the final stretch. Now it's easy to meme on them, call them Bottle Job FC, but I think this is more the classic profile of a young and up-and-coming team. They have the talent to beat anyone, but mentally, are they mature enough yet? Can they find their way in those championship moments? Or do they need more time, more seasoning, before they can perform when the lights get brightest? And until they can prove it, they're going to stay Bottle Job FC. That's just the way it is in sports. And for as dominant as they've been in the Premier League, joint top of the table right now, they barely got past a far inferior Porto. And as mentioned before, they drew Bayern Munich in the next round, who have historically just smacked them around. They have the ability to do it, but do they have the self-belief? That is just my nagging question about this team, but I guess we'll see. Next up, and pretty much a tie for who I believe is going to win this competition, it's Real Madrid. You've heard all the platitudes before. This competition is their birthright. They have double the amount of European titles to the closest competitor, and if Bayern owns the Bundesliga, Real Madrid owns the Champions League. And what's nutty about it is they don't even have to be that good. Yes, in the 90s and the 2000s, when they were the Galacticos, they were just fucking better than everybody. But these recent Champions League wins, my God, they've won in the ugliest, derpiest bullshit ways possible. They're like a vampire in this competition. Until you put the stake in the heart and it's in the ground, then you're not dead. And this is just another classic Real Madrid run. They've looked less than dominant for most of the year, but they keep on finding ways to win. The injection of Jude Bellingham into this Real Madrid squad has been sensational to watch. Issue like watching tap-ins. And that makes a lot of sense because Real Madrid loves a good tap-in artist. All jokes aside, Jude Bellingham has been world-class. No one thought he would be this good. Since stepping on the pitch for Los Blancos, he's been absolute mint, scoring a ridiculous 16 goals to lead La Liga, and that is from a midfielder role. He's the first Real Madrid midfielder in the 21st century to score 15-plus goals in a single La Liga campaign. The only players who have scored more are Fat Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, and Ruud van Nistelrooy, all icons and future icon cards in FIFA. What this young man is doing at the Santiago Bernabeu, week in and week out, is a madness. For someone this young to do what he's doing under that much pressure is Zidane-esque. Even the likes of David Beckham never reached his heights at Real Madrid. He stepped in and he's already Real Madrid's best player. It's insane. And they got some decent players. Vinicius Jr. is as dangerous as ever on that left wing. Camavinga can cover any position on and off the pitch. And while Pep Guardiola is this genius tactician where he wants the positioning of every one of his players inch perfect down to the tiniest details, with or without the ball, the manager of Real Madrid, Carlo Ancelotti's tactics, can often be boiled down to fuck it. We ball. Using the power of friendship and an inquisitive eyebrow, he powers up his players like he's buffing the party in Baldur's Gate. And the fact that this team, no matter how bad it looks, no matter the scoreline, no matter how late it is, they always seem to find some bullshit way to win. And what's scary is that about 5 years ago, Real Madrid completely shifted their transfer policy. They sold off a lot of their aging Galacticos to invest more in the stars of tomorrow. And that youth is starting to come to fruition. They're sitting atop of La Liga after weathering an early storm from upstart Girona, and now, by most accounts, it seems like they will finally be getting their man, Kylian Mbappe, this summer. And with rumors of them monitoring Trent Alexander-Arnold and the new Brazilian wonderkind Endrick, Real Madrid fans might just splooge themselves to death come the summer. And that's looking forward to next year. They're already the second best odds to win this competition this year. Can you imagine the squad? Oh God. Oh, it's going to be a tough summer for Barca fans. All right. And last but not least, yeah, I'm going chalk. It's Man City. They're the defending treble-winning champs with a squad whose second team could beat 90% of the teams in Europe. And they have the bald-headed goat as their manager. It should be theirs to win it. But they're not invincible, beyond the obvious caveat that this competition is notoriously difficult to win back-to-back. Man City have been a little off this year. They've only won one match against the top six in the Premier League this year, and that was against Man United, so it doesn't count. Erling Haaland, while he's still leading the league in goals scored, has had a little bit of a sophomore slump. I mean, that was inevitable, because you can't keep up a record-breaking pace forever, but he's had a little bit of lull in his form, and he's complained about fatigue. Also, Ilyan Gundogan leaving in the summer is going to be a big loss for them. That dude would always just transform into Prime Zidane for the last quarter of the season, and he would just be so clutch, especially in the big tournament matches. And for all the accolades and platitudes that we laud upon His Holiness, the blessed Pep Guardiola, he is no patron saint of the Champions League. In fact, before last year, he had never won the Champions League trophy without Lionel Messi on the pitch for him. So while they might be the odds-on favorite to take it all, I wouldn't bet on it. They are the best first team and second team on paper. Kevin De Bruyne is back from injury, and he's still the best midfielder in the world. Phil Foden is enjoying a productive season, and I know Bernardo Silva cannot wait to cook Camavinga again this year. But I just don't know. I just don't think they even make it to the final. Funky things happen in tournament play, and I just think that winning the treble, getting that last piece of silverware that they never tasted, it sapped a little bit of their motivation. Total victory has made them lose their edge a bit. And that is why I could see a Real Madrid or Thomas Tuchel-led Bayern Munich win it all this year. Either way, I am sure that we're in store for a crazy Final 8. And you sure as hell can bet that I'll be back for the Final 4 to break down how it all went down. That is going to be it for me. Thank you to Liam for helping me edit this video. Shout out to all my patrons helping me keep the lights on. Extra shout out to Leon Sharp, the newest member of the $1 Army. Thank you so much. If you want to buy me coffee, you can go ahead and join the Patreon. Link is over here. But until next time, boys, stay thick.